All right, 30 minutes past the hour. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of the Behind the Blocks podcast. I'm your host, Evan, and here with me, I got who you got. Who are you, fellas?
I'm Carter Jones. I've been driving the Fly Eagles Fly number 20 machine under the team owner of Caleb Marinelli. I can't wait to talk about that later on.
Yeah.
And my name is Seth Peters. I'm the super cool and awesome guy
All
who
right.
drives the number 78 Smithfield car for Fireball Motorsports. Two-time winner this season. Have a shot in the championship, and I'm here to talk about some NRRL, baby. NRRL.
Heck yeah. All right, should be fun. Listeners, just a reminder, this is our first time ever doing this, so don't judge us too hard. We're figuring things out
Yeah,
as we go.
please don't judge us. We're
Oh,
nervous.
Yeah, don't judge us.
never.
So we got a couple topics we're gonna cover tonight. I'm not really sure how to cover this, so we're just gonna go right into it. We're gonna start 2 weeks ago. Flashback to Naval Raceway. Caden Bishop picks up his first win of season 8 and breaks the longest winless streak in NRRL, possibly NRRL history, but current NRRL winless streaks. What do you guys think?
Oh, well, I will say this. I love racing Caden on the racetrack. I mean, he's pretty fun to be around. You know, he's gotten a little smarter over time. I will say that. I love me a smarter Caden Bishop than years past. But you know, I feel like that goes for a lot of us. We've just gotten smarter as we get more experienced, and he's been doing a lot less dumb stuff. And you know, I respect that, and I think this has been a long time coming. You know, he hasn't had the best of luck, but now he finally got some good luck, and he got that 99, unsponsored by the way, back to victory lane. Pretty cool story, pretty epic journey for him.
Like, yeah,
Well,
speaking of sponsorship, sorry, 1 second. Speaking of sponsorship for Caden Bishop, might as well just drop this here. Next season, Caden Bishop will be sponsored by the Bishops Basketball Challenge. Go watch their games. It's fire.
Dude, they are.
Go
Wow.
Milwaukee Crooks. Go Crooks. Shameless sponsor plug right there. All right, Seth,
They're
your
freaking
sponsor.
bad.
Shut up.
Well, anyways, Caden Bishop, is my teammate, so it's very glad to see him get a win. It's been a long time coming since season 5, about race 10, back in Maple Valley. Actually, was the last time he got that win. So Caden does actually statistically have the longest winless drought in NRL history. That was the longest snapped. It was 68 races. So that's a huge accomplishment
Holy
for Mr.
shit.
Caden Bishop.
Seth, our statistician over there.
Well, funnily enough, I had it for like 4 weeks. It was 57. It was 49 races for me, and then Quinn
And you
broke it
got
when he
good.
won. Yeah, and then Quinn broke it, and then Roberto
Yeah.
this season was close. Had he raced, had we gone a few more races before he won, he would have been in
Yeah.
the running. But his was only a 40 race, so.
Roberto Crown Jr., what a name drop. I don't think he's raced since he got suspended after, like, I don't know, what track was that?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a breath of fresh air.
Oh, jeez.
I think that was
Shout out Roberto. Shout out
Toronto?
Roberto. But yeah. Anyways, back to Caden. That naval race was a lot of fun. Raced up front all day. I got a good solid third place there, but I could have won that one. But glad Caden got the W, and he's sitting there in victory lane. It's been a long time coming for him. Glad he finally got him one.
Yes, you mentioning you were up there. Not only were you up there, but it was a Fireball Motorsports 1, 2, 3 in Naval. Very impressive for a team that has had their struggles so far this season. Obviously, being one less car than Dodge Mopar, not really going to have too much of a chance at the Constructors' Championship, but have been off and on all season, mainly Caden with his spotty attendance. But in recent races, my goodness, Caden is on fire. Like we said 2 weeks ago, snapped his winless streak, getting the win at Naval. Also, what a race. That was an amazing race, amazing finish.
Oh, yeah.
But then this past week, just yesterday at New England, I almost forgot what track we were at yesterday.
We
That's
were in New
awesome.
England, you bum.
Yeah, at New England. He was able to make his way through. He ran a really good race, honestly. He was up front for a good chunk of it and came home with a P3, I believe.
Yes, really solid finish from him, and he's starting to put these finishes together. He hadn't really had much luck at all this season, and the 10 starts he's had, but these last 2 races, he's been good. So
Hmm.
watch out for Caden Bishop next year. That's all I'm
For
gonna say,
sure.
And
man. He might be.
you just love to see that out of a driver like Caden Bishop. He's a cool guy. He's a good guy to hang out with. He's
Well,
just
yeah, it's
he's
like
that
that
guy,
TikTok meme. He's just a chill dude,
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
chill guy. He's a
chill
chill guy,
guy.
and
he's
MB.
just a
he's just
chill
fun to be
guy.
around. It's good to see him succeed once again. Like he was one of the better drivers back in like season 4, season 5. It's good to see him up towards the front again.
Sure is.
Oh yeah.
All right. So moving on from that topic, our next topic will be sort of an announcement of sorts. So this past season, Rookie of the Year contender Paul Donlin has had one primary sponsor, just one sponsor the entire season, with Google. However, next season, he will have a secondary sponsor. He will also be sponsored. Google will be returning, but he will also be sponsored by the global campaign working towards inclusion for all people, which is known as Spread the Word Inclusion. So definitely an interesting new sponsor coming on. Should be fun to see what the graphic designers cook up with that. And, it's just a good cause. And it's awesome to see Paul repping their brand.
Yeah, that's a really good inclusion's always great. Always great to get new sponsors here in the NRRL. It's great to build up our, you know, repertoire and overall just brand awareness. So it's great to have new big name sponsors coming in, big or
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I mean, when it comes to racing leagues like this or just sports in general, it's all about bringing people together and just promoting this idea of inclusion and not segregating or anything toward any group of people in any derogatory way. So I feel like this is an awesome sponsor for Paul to have.
And, Paul Donlin's just that, like Caden Bishop, just that chill guy,
He's
He's
just that chill
always
guy,
friendly
dude.
with other people.
Chill
He's
guy.
always friendly with other people. He's always friendly with the other drivers. Even on track, he's one of the most respectful racers we've seen in the NRL. It's honestly a breath of fresh air just to have him around. So it's awesome to see him pick up a new sponsor to kind of spread that joy or happiness or whatever you want to call it,
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I mean, having speaking firsthand, I've had Paul Donlin as a teammate the whole season, and he's been one of the best teammates I've frankly ever had. And it's hard to say that. I mean, I've had some really good teammates in my entire career, and Paul Donlin is just being able to work with him throughout the season. I feel like he's really impressed me on the rookie level that he is, and it's just been absolutely phenomenal having him as a not only a teammate, but now he's potentially knocking his way into the championship 4 even. I mean, just all across the board, just man, talent to the sky.
Like you said, I mean, we'll talk more about points and the points situation later on, but he's only 6 points back. As a rookie, 6 points back of the Final Four. We haven't seen that kind of performance since Alex Moreal a couple seasons ago.
True.
Fortunately, circumstances didn't play out the greatest, but he would have been in the Final Four had those circumstances not happened. So it's awesome to see another generational rookie talent in the field.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not counting season 2, I mean, I was a rookie that year and I made the Final
Yeah,
Four.
that's
Not
true.
to brag
That is
or
true.
anything, but
Not to brag or anything, but I'm awesome,
Exactly, bro.
You mentioned circumstances surrounding what happened that season. It's just one of those things you hope doesn't happen again. Yeah.
Truly unfortunate.
What do you mean circumstances?
Well, I think we all know what we're talking about. The suspension, the incredible season just to get ruined by a suspension. Would have probably made the Final Four just to get ruined by a stupid statement that shouldn't have been said. Yeah. Anyways, moving on to our next topic. Actually, I did want to say, Seth Peters, I think you got some room to talk about being good. 7 career wins, one of the best in the NRRL right now, but just wanted to add that. All right, our next topic is going to be last night's race. Alex Moreal punching his ticket into the Final Four. It just incredible by him, honestly. He's made the Final Four in the last 2 seasons. Would have been the last 3 seasons if, circumstances were different. But ignoring that, he was a turn away from winning the championship last year in St. Louis. He's going to be a threat, obviously, to all the drivers. I mean, both of you know he's, like it or not, he's a good race car driver, even if he is aggressive at times. Whether that works out for him or not, he's got the stats to prove that he's one of the best in the league right now.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry, MB.
I was just going to say, Seth, speaking to you as a driver who will very likely be battling him in 2 weeks for the championship, how do you feel about him making his way into the Final Four yesterday?
Well, to be frank, a little nerve-wracking. Alex is a great competitor. I've had great battles with him. I've had bad battles with him. I feel like I've been on the receiving end of a lot of, punishment, give and take from him. But to be fair, I've also given back to. It's kind of a two-way street. We kind of do it to each other. We're aggressive drivers. That's just how it is. And he missed last week's race, and that put him in a points hole. He needed to come up big, and he came up big with the win at New England, and you got to respect it. I raced him well all day at New England. I tried to keep it clean. We were gonna actually finish all top 4, before that big caution came out. Me, Caleb, Justin, and Alex. We were running great. A certain somebody across the table from me over here decided, no, it'd be funny if I went off the hill, and just a little bit funny.
Well,
Who could we be talking about?
I don't know who I'm talking about. He's wearing yellow. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
It's actually Pac-Man Sunshine color.
Oh, interesting.
Whatever, Matt Kenseth boy.
Ooh.
All right. So, but yeah, New England was a great race. Alex ran a really good race. I felt like I had a winning car there. Could have won that one. Kind of got that one lost from me, but it's all right. Came up with a solid 4th, and happy for Alex. Gets to make it back to Championship 4, and can't wait to see him next week or in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right, well, Carter, obviously you're not in the chase right now, but you're still a competitor of Alex Moreal. How do you feel about him punching his ticket to the Final Four yesterday?
Yeah, well, I will definitely in years past, I've definitely been in championship battles with him as well. And rivalry, I will say that. It's been pretty tough, pretty tooth and nails when it's me and him battling on the track, but obviously, since I've gone part-time, I've had to cool it down a little bit. I still try to race him hard every so often, but I try not to grind his gears too badly. But yeah, he's a tough man to pass on the racetrack, and he is an even tougher man to keep behind you because he is not afraid to use that bumper, and that's what gets him race wins. That's what gets the job done. That's constantly what does it time and time again for him to end up in these championship winning scenarios. And I think just since his rookie year, he's just popped off, doing what he does best, just wearing the 22 in its full pride and just absolutely just laying it to the competition.
It's been a journey over Alex Moreal's career. He had that blazing hot rookie season, backed it up with another pretty good season, made it to the Final Four. Like I said earlier, was a corner away from winning the championship.
Season 7, he got 1 win, but he was easily the best driver all season. Finished halfway bonuses every week. It's always attention.
Yep, very
most
true.
Consistent, best average finish, regular season champion. It's domination, and it unfortunately just hasn't really been backed up with a title or all the wins you see these other guys get. But so far this year, he's tied for the most wins with his teammate Braden Branham at 3. So we'll have to see if he can improve on that as we have 2 more races left in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Speaking of the chase, let's take a look at the points battle going into Martinsville. We got one race left in the Super 6. With Caleb Marinelli's suspension, he's been knocked out of chase contention, so there are 5 drivers left. but only 3 more spots available, as Alex Moreal has already locked himself in with his win yesterday, as we've already mentioned. Take a look at second place in the points. Seth Peters sits at 2,048, plus 12 above the cut line. Justin Ricci in third, also pretty comfortable above the cut line at plus 11. And here's where it gets hazy right around that cut line. One of the closer cut line battles we've seen out of the chase in the past few rounds, going back to last year as well. Marty Dallas sits 6 points above the cut line over Paul Donlin, and Paul Donlin sits 6 points below. I think it's going to come down between the 55 and the 10. I think the 78 and the 12, they're going to keep their stuff together. They're going to get to the checkered flag. They're going to make their way on to the final 4. I think it's going to be a dogfight between the 55 and the 10, especially with those bonus points up for grabs for the pole, the fastest lap, and the stage break. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well,
go on.
Cardi, if you want to go first, you can go right ahead, my friend.
All right. I suppose I'll take the sword here, the torch. It's a juicy cutoff battle. I mean, I'm teammate of Paul Donlin. I may or may not attempt to help him out however I can without manipulating the race. But Marty Dallas is the guy he has to battle, and that's not a easy task to fight against him and try to score points. I mean, it can be. So sometimes Marty decides to be bad in races and just absolutely craps the bed. Then other times he's good. So, Paul has that to look forward to. Maybe it'll swing one side compared to the other. But what Paul needs to focus on is himself and just trying to get every single point he can. It's a tough track to do that, though. Martinsville, anything can happen. Lots of bumping and banging. Need stuff to go your way.
You bring up a good point. I feel like both the 10 and the 55 are very hot or cold. You never really know what you're going to get out of either of them at any given track. Obviously, Paul's a rookie, so he hasn't raced on any of these tracks, so that kind of makes sense. But Marty Dallas is just that kind of guy where he's either going to have a good day, finish in the top 5, or he's going to finish sub 10. There's really no in between with a 55 team, but it's gotten him here. He's 6 points above the cut line.
It's gotten him there, and you said, he's just that kind of guy.
Keep it up. I wouldn't say he's a chill guy like Paul and Caden, but he's definitely a guy. What do you think, Seth?
Well, so here's how I'm looking at this points battle. All right, me and Justin, I think we're pretty confidently in, unless catastrophic finish happens. But usually, for the most part, only about 14 cars show up every week on average, and this is Martinsville, so this is going to be a tight quarter race. Last year, I finished second in this race, and a photo finish between me and Tanner. It was a great race between me and him. But we'll see what happens here this year. It's going to be interesting. Marty's been great at poles, so I think he could possibly get a pole here, unless Carter shows up. Otherwise, I think that right it on the 20 there. But I think Marty's got a shot at the pole, so that's 2 bonus points in his favor, which could get him up to +8. And then you never know with the halfway bonus. Low key, it can go anyway. Just really depends on if you get up front and stay up front and don't get wrecked. Because usually in these races, you can really only drive around like 3 cars at most. Like if you get more than that, it just doesn't work out for you.
Yeah,
definitely.
And with Martinsville, it's going to be a lot more interesting because lap traffic is going to be more of an issue. Because if you're having bad lap times over a long period of time, there are going to be lap cars. So this will be a fun race to see. If the good drivers can stay up front and weave through all the lap cars and keep their car clean.
And Martinsville is just one of those races, man. Not only is it a chase race, but it's a cutoff race, and it's a lap traffic race. Me as the league owner and me as the league official, I got to be on my A game. The drivers got to be on their A game. Mm-hmm. There's a lot on the line, and you just got to be consistent with the calls and stuff. So it's definitely going to be a fun one. I enjoy races where it's a little more intensity. Gotta love a good cutoff battle, which is what we have here this week. And it's going to be such a good race. And it's going to be so fun to see who advances to the Final 4 at Jacksonville. Hopefully on next week's episode, I plan on getting the Final 4 in here. We'll see how that goes if we can set that up.
Now, that'll be a juicy episode.
That'd be a
So we'll
really good
see how that
episode.
goes next week. Moving on. Do we talk about it, fellas? Are we gonna talk about the thing?
I think we need to talk about the thing,
I
the
think there's a
circumstances.
certain topic we gotta talk
Which of
about.
which of you wants to
Circumstances.
start? Which of you wants to start it?
Seth,
I think,
I'll have you take it, Seth. I'm gonna wait a little bit and let it simmer.
well, okay, so I'm gonna just start with this. You know, we here at the NRL, we consider ourselves a really high performance, really take this step seriously, but sometimes people can take it a little bit too seriously and can really get upset at these races. I've done it before.
We're not
I've
gonna
been
name names.
really upset.
We're not gonna name
You
names.
know, oh,
We're,
we're not gonna name names.
we're not
Well,
gonna
you
name
know what?
names.
This driver has been a pain in the booty to me for almost 2 years. But yeah, Caleb Marinelli. You know,
Ooh, name
he
drop.
suspended himself. Yeah, yeah. He said the
Hey,
no word. He pulled an Alex Moreal. He pulled an
I
Alex
mean,
Moreal.
let me jump in here. Like you mentioned, he pulled an Alex Moreal. Here's the problem I have with it, all right? First off, it's not something that should ever be said. Second off, it's not something that should ever be targeted at the other drivers in the VC.
Mm-hmm.
Third off, the precedent has been set. In the past, 3 seasons of the NRL, we've had 2 other drivers get suspended for multiple races for saying things that they shouldn't have been saying in VC. The drivers were warned at halfway and before the 2 to go restart to keep their tempers in check and to keep everything in the hauler channel in the Discord. And this person, who we shall not name, did not do that and instead ended their season with a stupid statement that shouldn't have been said. What baffles me is that he would have been 5 or so points back of the cut line. He would have been 7. All right. He would have been well within the hunt for the last 3 Final Four spots, and he just threw that away. That's what I don't understand. But the decision was made, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences. It's the same thing that Alex Moreal went through, and like it or not, like I said, the precedent has been set. Say something like that, you're suspended for multiple races. In this case, it ended his season.
Yep.
Carter?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have hit it on the head pretty well. The nail in the coffin, as they say. I think that just happened with the 15 season. And, as a driver for the race team, am I allowed to swear? Can I do a swear?
You can swear, but I'll probably bleep it out.
Okay. Caleb, what the fuck were you doing, bro? Now listen, okay? You got, in my opinion, the most talented roster, okay? You have me, who's been kind of regressing, okay. But then you have Paul, a rising star, one of the most humble beings that you could have as a rookie, and one of the biggest role models of the fucking series, okay? And then you have Zach Stern, one of my bros, one of my icons in life, icons in racing. The man is a legend, and he's damn good at what he does, and I've learned a lot from him. And this just monstrosity of leadership and role modelism. I don't know what to say, bro. I mean, I'm nearly speechless. I really am. Now I will admit I can understand why you were a little temper-headed. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, and I may get fined and potentially suspended, but maybe it might reel in the views for this first podcast episode.
Tread lightly here, Carter.
But I did in fact intentionally cause the caution. I was intentionally, yeah. Okay, so listen. Okay.
Wow, I see how it is.
No, listen. No, listen. Okay, now this is not the topic. This is not the topic. I'm gonna continue to pivot this in the way that I want. Okay. Now, listen. I brought JD into the equation so it seemed believable, but man, listen. I am a big believer in optimal performance. And while Caleb was in a good position there, I knew Paul wasn't in the greatest of positions. So I wanted to try and get them both in the best positions possible. And I may or may not have caused a butterfly effect that caused my team owner to get suspended. Whoopsie daisies. But I will say, I am disappointed. I am very disappointed. Probably a little bit in myself, but more so in the fact that someone said something they shouldn't have, that shouldn't belong in the series at all. Shouldn't be targeted toward anyone as well in the first place. I mean, it's a little wild. It's a little wild. And, you know, I hate to be the person that may or may not have caused that. And I may or may not have costed the team some more owner points or some shit. We'll see what the penalties are. But I feel like I had to share the story and add to the narrative a little bit. That's the truth. MB on Dodge Mopar's behalf, but Caleb, you screwed up, man. I clearly screwed up too. This wouldn't have happened, but I will say it. That is partially MB.
This will be a 2-race probation and a $200,000 fine for Carter Jones.
Wow. There goes my bank account. There goes my bank account.
All right, well, that pretty much covers the Caleb Marinelli topic. One more thing before we hop off the podcast for this first episode. Let's make some predictions, all right? Final 4 predictions. We'll go one by one round table. Let's see what everyone thinks. So obviously Alex Moreal's locked in with his win. Seth Peters will hand the talking stick over to you. Who do you think makes the Final 4? And who do you think will be the champion as well?
All right. Well, of course, Alex Moreal's already locked in. I think me and Justin, my teammates, we've been in the Final 4 together for the past 2 seasons. I think we repeat that again and make it back to the promised land. It'll be my 5th time back there. It'll be Justin's 5th as well, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, and then that last spot, Marty's got the points, but I don't know. To me, Paul's a bit streaky for me. The only real times like I felt like Paul has been running good races is just when he doesn't get caught up in wrecks, and I can only really say that about 3 times this season. He genuinely really had a shot with Marty. On the other hand, while he has been very aggressive and his aggressiveness takes him out a lot, I, for one, honestly am of the belief that Marty can pull it off. I think he's got the skills and the talent to make it happen. So I'm going to go Marty for my final spot there over Paul.
All right, Carter Jones, what do you think?
Yep. Well, I have to have Justin and Seth as locks. I will say that. Well, okay, it is kind of tempting to say Seth will choke so unbelievably badly just so we can get some drama on the show, but realistically, there's no way that's going to happen.
We'll probably only get like 2 views either way, Carter. This is the end of the show. I doubt people are still listening.
Yeah.
Well, who knows, though? We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm going to call some people out. Alex Moreal, you smell. Justin Ricci,
hey.
you like men.
This is how we'll know if people are watching or not. They'll react to this part.
Hey, it's really going to help when you put in the title for the episode name, Carter Jones special guest gets penalized for comments made. But okay, but listen, all right. So Seth and Justin are in. That should be a lock unless something detrimental happens. I just don't see it happening. So honestly, talk is between Marty and Paul. Seth took Marty. You know, being the teammate of Paul, I'd be inclined to say Paul should make it in. You know, and I think he will. I think Paul's going to do it. He's going to squeak into the Final 4, and here's why. Paul has been such a good performer. I know he hasn't been the most consistent, but obviously neither has Marty Dallas. Now, what sticks out to me with Paul is that not only does he just have the most miraculous teammate help ever, but he knows how to be smooth. If he can keep it out of trouble, like Seth said, He can rack up those halfway points. He's been in that position before. He's done it in the chase before multiple times, especially in I think the first round he was really racking them up. And there's no reason for me to not think that Paul's is absolutely gonna make it. Sorry for my stuttering. I'm kind of excited after setting the world on fire 5 minutes ago. But
First episode.
yeah, I gotta say, Paul, I think Marty might get a little too excited, and sometimes that bites him in the butt. I think Paul's going to be more composed, which is shocking to say from a rookie, but I think he can get it done. But the only thing stopping him is that big deficit he has to get carving back into the chase 6 points behind or whatever it is.
And yeah, it's like we were saying earlier, it's going to be such a close battle. But here's my picks, all right? Alex Moreal, he's going to make it in, right?
Bro
Seth
is a
Peters,
lock. Yep.
Seth Peters is going to make it in. Pretty much a lock. Justin Ricci's going to make it in. Sorry. Might win. I don't know. I think, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Justin Ricci. He's going to win Martinsville. So Justin Ricci will win his way into Jacksonville, joining Alex Moreal. Seth Peters will also be in. He will be the first car in on points. And then I'm gonna say Paul Donlin. He's gonna advance to the Final Four, mostly because Marty's a stinky doo-doo head. Just kidding. Maybe he'll actually listen to this and then he'll react to it. But who knows?
Marty is the type of guy to listen to this thing. Why do you think I called Justin and said he likes the little boys?
It's a test, bro. It's a test. We'll see if
It's a test.
We'll see if anyone's actually listening or not. You know. But yeah, just for the reasons that pretty much everyone else was saying, I think Paul Donlin's going to get in. Who knows? Maybe Marty Dallas proves us wrong. But for now, I feel more confident in Paul Donlin getting the dub.
I have to agree with you there.
Yeah, and so I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. So thank you to our special guests, Carter Jones, Seth Peters, for joining up. It's been a fun one.
Hey, thank you for calling us up. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to speak my mind.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people will watch and plan on doing this next week. We'll see who's on the show next week. But yeah, thank you all for listening, first off, and thank you, Carter and Seth, for showing up once again. And yeah, thanks for tuning into the Behind the Blox podcast, episode 1.
See you guys in episode 2.
Yay! We're good.